A study from the Center for Strategic and International Studies found that 2025 has already surpassed any year since the 1970s for incidents of left-wing political violence. Well, analysts documented a steep rise in anarchist, Antifa, and eco-extremist attacks, marking the first time in 3 decades that far-left incidents outnumbered far-right ones. But what does that mean exactly? The report notes that most left-wing attacks targeted police facilities, government buildings, and pro-life centers. These incidents included arson, fire bombings, and sabotage, tactics once confined to small extremist cells that have now resurfaced in multiple states and really do seem more widespread. In Atlanta, 23 protesters were charged with domestic terrorism following violent clashes at the Cop City police training complex. Federal and state prosecutors say the group planned organized attacks using fire bombs and construction site weapons. Reuters reports that the spike in ideological violence has pushed the country into what security experts call a self-feeding cycle of retaliation, where each incident invites another. Chris Tremolia is an editor and writer for the Washington Examiner, a frequent media analyst whose work has appeared in the National Review and the Philadelphia Inquirer, amongst other places. He holds a degree in political science and Russian studies from the University of Pennsylvania, so he brings quite the insight into this topic. He joins us now. Chris, thank you for joining us.
No problem. Thank you for having me, Chanel.
Well, what prompted you to write this article? This article really points out some flaws in some of the data collection that centers, governments have been procuring in light of this rise in domestic violence, something that the left really kind of abused before now.
Absolutely. So basically what got me interested in this study is that it was the first study that I heard of where they kind of verified that there's been an increase in left-wing violence, and it's been more voluminous and occurring more times than right-wing violence. And that's only because over the past, 10, 15, maybe 20 years or so, you've been hearing how right-wing violence is the biggest problem with domestic terrorism. And, Democrats, liberals, media pundits, legacy media, they've all repeated this over and over and over again. So when this study came out by CSIS, I was actually shocked and impressed that if some center, some scholarly article has been done and research has been done on this. And then I was disappointed when I actually read it, because if you read the article, which I'm not sure how many people did overall when they were citing this, you actually went into more detail, I think, in your intro than pretty much every legacy media member combined did. It kind of reads as if it's like apologizing for the fact that there's an increase in left-wing violence. And they cite different things, as you mentioned in the intro. But the most interesting thing that I found was that they actually omit quite a few things. And a lot of things that they omit kind of gives you a hesitance to think, how credible are these studies? For example, it said in the actual study that it was excluding the acts of violence against Tesla dealerships, which, as we know, happened earlier this year to protest Elon Musk and Doge. These were legitimate attacks.
Really?
Where they were vandalizing Tesla dealerships. Not even Tesla dealerships. People who had Tesla cars, they were going up and breaking them. There was that incident in Vegas where they blew it up. So different incidents like that were not being
politically driven attacks.
Definitely. Basically, would seem to be the textbook definition of a left-wing domestic terrorist attack. Another incident that they said they were omitting was the arson attack on Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's mansion, which, as you know, was a pro-Palestine, anti-Israel fanatic that wanted to kill the governor. I mean, it's, again, textbook definition.
But are you so surprised they wouldn't count that one in? I mean, it's not a huge surprise, I guess. It's disappointing, at least.
Well, you would think that when they're counting left-wing violent acts overall, this would be a pretty big thing to include. I mean, it's going after the governor. They said they were excluding attacks on ICE officers, the fire bombs, like the Molotov cocktails, like all these basically incidents of left-wing domestic terrorism, left-wing attacks that you see in the news all the time, they were specifying, they were
They're
excluding.
not counting.
Yeah, and it just boggles my mind. But also gives you concern because for years they parroted the whole, oh, it's right-wing violence that outnumbers left-wing violence. Well, no kidding. If you're going to take this and not, count these acts of left-wing violence.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.